Yes, of course, because as a Vancouver Canucks fan, we would love to see good defensemen sticking around in the Pacific Division. Today, we are going over the latest when it comes to Calgary Flames defenseman Rasmus Andersson, a guy who's been in a pretty interesting spot the past few months here, as a 28-year-old, 6'1", 203-pound right-handed defenseman for Calgary. His contract expires at the end of next season, making $4.55 million a year. And for the most part, I'd say that Rasmus Andersson has been very good. 4 seasons ago, he had a 50-point campaign, followed up by 49 points, 39 points, and then 31 the most recent year. Yes, his point production has technically gone down, but the Calgary Flames have also gotten worse over these few years, and I think common consensus says that Rasmus Andersson, despite the fact that he did play all the games, it's not like he's the absolute healthiest, it's not like he is at the peak of his athletic and offensive capability. There's a lot more that can be uncovered and unraveled if you give this guy just a little bit more time to recover, and you're not playing him as hard. Rasmus Andersson for the Calgary Flames was a very important defenseman. 24 minutes a night, 26 minutes some nights, 22 consistently it seems like, 23-minute games in there. There's even a 27-minute game here against the Carolina Hurricanes. This guy is a total monster, and when you think about the versatility that he brings to the Calgary Flames and their blue line, his mobility, his defensive ability, his shot blocking, his point production, Rasmus Andersson can kind of do it all. He's a very versatile player. But the Calgary Flames are going through some sort of a retool/rebuild on the fly type of thing. And Rasmus Andersson is 28 years old. Like with Nazem Kadri, this is a team that might have the potential to maybe make some longer-term upgrades if they make a trade with these names. But for Rasmus Andersson, there have already been trade rumors linking him to teams like the Vegas Golden Knights, for example, and we now have ourselves word as to where those conversations actually went. I'm going to leave a link in the description to 2 articles. First, this, Expressen.se. It's a Swedish article where Rasmus Andersson confirms that he has rejected a huge bid from the NHL. Here is the scoop. Rasmus Andersson was offered a contract that would take your breath away. Yet he chose to ignore it for the sake of his family, and is now met with silence from his hockey team, the Calgary Flames. No one has heard from me in a month and a half, says Rasmus Andersson. There's a video that obviously has the scoop in Swedish, so we're not going to go out there and watch that or listen to that over here, but an article on thehockeywriters.com by Jacob Billington earlier today goes over the same Rasmus Andersson updates from that video. Take a look at this. Throughout the offseason, one of the biggest trades many were anticipating hadn't happened yet, and that was Rasmus Andersson. All signs point to Andersson not extending with the Calgary Flames, and GM Craig Conroy has been open about being willing to go into the season and deal with it at a later date. In a post from Expressen, a Swedish news site, it was reported that Andersson did not limit the Flames to only trading him to Vegas, as was previously reported. Andersson states, "I've still been very appreciated in Calgary for a long time. Then some insider comes with wrong information and the fans believe it because they are right about a lot of other things they do, and I understand that that's their job. But I've not given Calgary a team that I'm preferred to be traded to, that I only want to sympathize with the team." That is not true, he says, with the quote being translated from Swedish. He continues on to say that he knows there was an offer from the LA Kings, and he isn't too concerned about his contract, which expires in 2026. So whether or not Andersson has a personal list, or has just a few teams he'd be willing to waive his no-trade clause for, he hasn't given the Flames any restrictions up to this point. So there you go. Rumors about Rasmus Andersson going over to Vegas. Oh, he's only allowed to go to Vegas. Rasmus would only allow the team to make a trade with Vegas. He's coming out there and saying, nah, I'm not doing any of that. I'm not holding the Flames back from making any sort of a trade. And you also have the contract extension, the offer which was given out to the guy, which apparently would have seen him get a big raise, a contract that would take your breath away, as reported by the expressn.se article, one that Rasmus Andersson actually rejected. He's making $4.55 million right now, but if he were to get a, let's say, free agent deal, if he was a person available on the market, I mean, he'd probably be getting upwards of 6.5. He's that good, I would say. Right now, Rasmus Andersson's contract does have a modified no-trade clause. He's got a 6-team no-trade list for this year, and that had come into effect starting last year, so he does have some control over where it is he gets traded if he does inevitably get traded. I think here is another thread that we have to dive into before we end off this video. It goes over some other commentary from other sources. Google Translate from the same article that we had just seen. Andersson was offered a contract that would take your breath away, yet he chose to ignore it for the sake of his family. Now, if you scroll down over here, Rasmus Andersson himself has not been amused by all the reports over the summer. He denies media reports that he has told Calgary that he only wants to be traded to Vegas. TSN writes that LA made a proposal that would take your breath away too. I know what the proposal was. Did you lose your breath? No. Or yes, no. Then I won't say it was LA or maybe something else. Only I know that. Some team made a very good offer for me, and that's it. I'm not keen on my family moving there, Andersson said. However, he chose to reject the offer and is still under contract with Calgary. I thought about a lot of things. I talked to my family and thought that right then and there I wasn't really keen on moving my family there and signing a long-term contract. That's what it all came down to. I communicated that decision to Calgary. I said, if you want to trade me, this is the number of teams I can think of signing for, but this team wasn't one of them. The Swedish Star says that talks with Calgary have been paused. I haven't spoken to them since they made that request, which was a month and a half ago. Sometimes you hear a lot, sometimes you hear a little. So that is really, really intriguing. So many updates in regards to the Kings apparently getting their proposal shot down, contract offers, and Rasmus Andersson himself not willing to sign with certain teams. This is getting really messy, and I think until we actually see a contract go down or a trade go down, we will just be going out here and speculating around in circles. So with all this in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Rasmus Andersson and this update that apparently there were things on the table. He was going to get traded, but he himself said no because he doesn't think his family would go out there and have a good time in that city. Whether it was LA or if it was anywhere else, let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about this update on Rasmus? Where do you think he gets traded to? And what do you think the trade return is going to be? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.